Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. And we are here for episode 246 episode of the Talk That Talk Show as we close in on 250. And it's been quite the ride, guys. And I just thank you guys each and every week that we get to come here on the air and share a little bit of time with you. Big shout out to my boy Alvin, tuned in on our Instagram live stream. And I just am the most thankful person because I feel like in the time that I have here, most of the things that incorporate or encompass my life as far as, work, extracurricular activities, family, friends, I just have a lot of good things in place in my life that just help to boost it and to make the most of it. And I feel as though, in being happy and, giving 110% of myself in the things that I put forth effort into, it's only right that the people that are along with me in the journey, kind of share that same energy as well too. And, through working at the high school, I earned a real good reputation with a woman there by the name of Coach Wright. And she, has always treated me well. When I worked at the high school, they would send me over to Harrison, and I really worked hand in hand with her when it came down to, working with the Harrison students. And then she got promoted into a position where she was working as head of security. Well, not head of security, but she was working for the security team. And it was cool because I got to interact with her a little bit more as they put me on different posts within the school. So, long story short, an opportunity had arose where she pretty much said to me that they're about to implement this flag football team for girls and that they're looking for a coach. And she was already the head coach. And she said, you know what, Barry, what are you doing? And, for me, I'd been working at the dispensary, many hours and, with bowling as well, my own personal life and relationship, it just seemed like there was just so many things, put in front of me that I just would not be able to handle this opportunity. And, I thought about it for a couple of times. And at first, when she said it to me, I kind of like said, I'll get back to you. But it's like one of those things where, you say someone, I'll hit you up later, but you have no intentions of hitting them up. That's how I kind of was at first, where I was like, you know what? I'll think about it, but I'll get back to you. But then the more I thought about it, the more it kind of made sense for me. And I was like, you know what? This might be an opportunity that I really might enjoy and that I can get a lot of enjoyment from. And, I think that, when you're able to give back and you have these situations like I had where, there was an opportunity to coach a sport that had never been coached before and build a program, for me, I kind of jumped at that. And I didn't even think monetarily at first. But, I kind of, after a while thinking about it, I was like, you know what? If I'm able to give back and kind of, build to this, I think that, this could be beneficial for me. And, I went back to her and talked to her and found out, the compensation number for as far as what would I be given for accepting this position for coaching. And I promise you, like, for me, yes, a little extra on top definitely helps out. But the value that I looked within this coaching position, is really more so to help build myself up as well, too. It had been some time since I had been a coach. Last time being when I was in Newark and working for Playworks. And, we had to basically coach these elementary school girls. So, I had experience coaching girls before. And, again, I thought about this opportunity and I was like, maybe this coaching thing can be something that I would like to do and something that I didn't know that I needed for some time, right? So it was cool because I accepted the position and I had to wait to get board approved throughout the course of the last couple of weeks. So I didn't really say anything to anybody about it. I didn't want to count my eggs before they hatched per se. So, I kind of held this with, me and my girlfriend. and really just look to see what would happen, right? I remember talking to the athletic director and having him say he would get back to me. Um, Pretty much, all the different follow-up things as far as trying to get this position. And then finally, one day, Coach Wright said to me, she was like, yo, you're board approved. It's a go. You're going to be coaching with us. And I think it really didn't set in until this past week where we had our first week of practices together. And, I think that, big shout out to my girlfriend, Doc, for coming to watch the practice on Friday with us. But, it really just felt good to be able to coach again, right? And I think the cool part is I'm coaching a sport where, I didn't play football in high school. And here I get this opportunity to coach girls flag football. You wouldn't think one of the questions that I got asked at the dispensary was, hey, well, is this something that, you got a lot of girls for? Like, what's the participation like? And I think the cool thing about it was, to start a starter program, we had 30 girls come out and 30 girls that are willing to participate in this flag football team. And I think that that's, an amazing accomplishment just then and there. And, at first to start, I really didn't, I had little to no expectations from these girls, considering the fact that when I see most of them in gym class, they're non-participants. They're sitting on the ground, on the sideline, on their phones. And I'm just like, these are the girls that want to play girls flag football? And, in working with Coach Wright, I had the opportunity to just really, condition these girls. And one of the things that they kind of didn't like is that the fact that, hey, we're pushing them a little bit, but, it felt good to have them talking to the custodian that we know, or talking to their teachers about just how sore they were in practice. And, I think that for them, having something that they can come to every single day, it's something that, we can't take for granted. The fact that I can say that I'm on a team through bowling, multiple different teams, and I can put on the jersey and represent that team, that means something. I remember talking to when I came up to see TK, big shout out to TK on Tuesday, and, I was talking to one of his teammates, and she was like, yo, you're so lucky, I really envy you because, you can make all these dope jerseys because you have your own brand. I don't have something of my own, right? So in doing so, I kind of look back and I think like, damn, I really do have my own brand, but at the same time, now I have my own, flag football team, varsity girls flag football team, which I'm assistant coach on. So I feel like, in reflectiveness, the things that I like to take on, even with this podcast, right, of making this brand, I've kind of figured out and realized that I truly enjoy building something from nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for most people, they like to come into situations where things are set up in place already, right? We always talk about the optimal situation or walking into the right thing, right? And I feel like lost is the art of building something from absolutely nothing, right? When we came out there on day one with those girls, they couldn't even run a fucking lap, man. All the complaining and everything. And then, through pushing them and then also getting out there and running with them, showing them that I'm willing to go through the struggle with you, you have no choice but to get better. I was having a conversation with my sister, and, she pretty much was talking about some of her frustrations with the production, with her score production, bowling-wise, at Carolier. And one of the things that me and my father tried to allude to her was the fact that, you can't cheat the game. If you're not doing well at something, you got to put the practice in. You got to put the effort in outside of just league, right? So when I took that same conversation that I had with my sister, and I'm then applying it to these girls on my team that truly don't want to condition, that saying they're making complaints of being sore and not wanting to do this, and I just really had to break it down to them and say, hey, this is where we're trying to go. And if we're trying to get to this place that you all want to be at, that you're all signing up for, that we can't cheat the process. We got to go out there and get our runs in. And, in trying to hold these girls accountable, one of the things that we had written down on the pad was this quote. And, big shout out again to Coach Wright. She gave us this quote that, we've then extended to the girls, and kind of it's been like our mantra. But, it really kind of resonated within me, because here we're extending this quote, and I'm going to share it with all of you here. And here I'm applying it, and I can't wait to tell you guys the story of how I applied it, right? So on the clipboard, we had written down for the girls, it's okay to struggle, but it's not okay to give up. I'm going to repeat that one more time. It's okay to struggle, but it's not okay to give up. So in all those times where those girls, when we had them doing the pace running, where it was getting tough for them, when we were doing the drills of route running and they're dropping passes, it's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to struggle, but it's not okay to give up. And I'm drilling it in these girls all week long of not giving up, sacrificing, and each week those girls laced them up, and they went through conditioning and got through it, and they got incrementally better each and every day. That we're on Friday, and let's take it back into perspective, because, in flag football, we were doing a little bit of scrimmaging at the end of practice, right? And the girls at the beginning couldn't even make a completion, right? Couldn't even make a completion. Not one. And through going through the route tree, through going through this conditioning with them, teaching them the essentials of how to try and get open, when we ended practice on Friday, they scored over 4 touchdowns, and we had girls making flags, getting first downs, and making incremental progress. All because these girls didn't give up. So when I broke it down to them on Friday, I told them straight up, when I came to y'all, I was like, this is going to be a long season. We got a lot to work on. But then after seeing them on Friday and seeing the progress that they made, not only was I able to encourage them, but it also reaffirmed the decision-making that I made for myself in taking this coaching position, because you have no choice but to get yourself and make yourself better if your job is to make other people better, right? I'm putting on that North Plainfield Canuck polo to make all those girls better and to have them have an enjoyable experience. And when you take and remove yourself from the situation and make it a selfless thing, to see that progress when you've built it from nothing, it's that much more sweeter. To be able to drill in their heads that it's okay to struggle, but it's not okay to give up, that's something that I can take with me. Case in point, we're on Thursday night. I had 2 great games, and it came down to the third game, and, I was struggling a little bit. I did not have I had probably my worst game in the month of March, right? And I threw a pretty decent shot, and of course, I left a 6-7-10, right? 6-7-10. And most people like, all right, go get 2 and get out of the way, right? Angie, how many times you ever told me that? Go get 2 and get out the way, right? And it came down to it, and I remember it clear as day. I went over, I looked back to my dad and to my brother and sister and behind me, and I was like, I'm going to make this shit. And I don't know, what in my body just possessed me, but it was almost like I had this outer body experience where I straight up said to him, I was like, watch, I'm going to make this shit. And I truly believed when I went up to that line that I was going to go make that 6, 7, 10. And when I went up there, I went up with the confidence and I rolled it. And sure enough, kicked out that 6-10 and made the 7 pin. And I just let out I told you. And what Dad said, he said it galvanized us to be able to go and believe that we had a chance to win. And would you believe me, and I told you that at the end of that match, we won stick by 1 pin. We won wood by 1 pin. Had I given up, had I felt sorry for myself because I had shot a 6-10, then maybe we don't win that game. Maybe we're singing a different story. Maybe we're not even in contention. Maybe we don't have our season saved, right? But because I believed in myself, and that belief within myself, it resonated throughout the team, and that's what makes teams. That Wednesday night with me and Angie and Lenny and Pops, there was times where it looked like, we might not get it. That third game, they all showed up to bowl, right? But everybody had a chance in that third game to contribute something to get us the dub. And sure enough, our team came out on top, and now we're a whole week ahead in first place on Wednesday night. So again, the same things that I instilled within these girls of it's okay to struggle, but it's not okay to give up. It means something when you truly believe in the things that you're trying to help someone else to understand. And when you take them and apply it yourself, I can't tell you how exhilarating, reinforcing, any type of positive adjective you can feel. I can't describe to you the feelings that makes me feel when I'm able to not only uplift someone else, but also lift myself up as well too. There was a girl, Jasmine, on our team. She was absolute dog water. She couldn't make a catch. And this girl, to end practice, had the interception on defense. She couldn't make a catch in practice, in route running, and anything. And when it came down to it, she took and grabbed that ball and she started running. Guys, those types of moments where you see someone elevate and prove not only themselves wrong, but prove others wrong that couldn't believe they can do it. There's no better feeling as a coach than leading someone into that direction. And in my life, I was missing those types of moments. So to the North Plainfield girls flag football team, thank you so much for making me a coach again, because I can't wait, man. I can't wait for the games, and it makes me happy to be able to bring other people up with me, man. And, I'm Coach Barry again. It means something. And, in doing so, in culminating all of this, I think that, it only makes that difference when it comes down to a team aspect with bowling, because of the fact that, hey, how can I instill and tell these girls and be this leading example of how to be a great teammate and instructing them if I can't be that same person myself when we're out there competing, right? And it's just, the ideals and principles that we learn through the sports that we play and through the things that we instruct others to do through some of our jobs. It's crazy. Just the types of lessons we can learn when we're receptive to the things around us, man. I'm just very thankful for this opportunity, and I think it's really gonna help through our production bowling wise as well too, man. But hey, I could sit here and give you guys the talk about how much I love being a coach all day, but one thing that I do love as well too, that I'm super motivated and enjoying throughout these last couple of days, has been the March Madness tournament. I mean, we got a couple big juggernauts. We've had some Cinderella stories. We had some big time upsets with JMU. Also with Oakland, Duquesne. I think March Madness, and especially with the young boy from Oakland, March Madness creates for some great storylines and really has you on pins and needles. I mean, that Creighton game yesterday went into double overtime, and I was on the edge of my seat. And my father spoke about it earlier. Really, I miss those days where, he would let me stay home from school on Thursday and Friday so we could sit and watch college basketball all day. The college, March Madness tournament was something that, I grew up loving for years and years. And, to look back now and say that, I've had a pool now running for about 10 years strong. Named it after my aunt. Big shout out to Aunt Doris. The 10th annual Doris Howard Invitational. I got 2 brackets in. We were able to get 32 entries, and it's just something I look forward to participating in every year. Big Al says DJ Burns is tough. I think that DJ Burns is somebody that is not only dominant, but he shows those skills of like a Zach Randolph, with the back down traditional post moves. And I feel like in the grand scheme of things, in today's game for the big man, a lot of times they want to catch the ball and be outside, out on the perimeter. I mean, you look at someone like Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's 7 foot, and he's taking the ball and shooting 3-pointers, setting those high ball screens out on the 3-point line, as opposed to DJ Burns, who's setting down screens and setting posts. So he wants that post position. I think DJ Burns represents that old school type of player, but at the same time, also someone who transferred from Winthrop. And I'm happy that you brought up DJ Burns, Al, because I overheard something from Jay Wright, and it kind of made me think a little bit too, because he spoke about how the landscape of college is not the same. My mom talked before about, those rookie guys like DeMarcus Cousins from Kentucky, the one and done eras, the Derrick Rose when he was in Memphis. Those freshman phenoms we're starting to see less and less of in college basketball, because it seems like through the route of, coaches and recruitment, everything is done through the portal. You look at some of the best teams right now, North Carolina, Marquette, you got guys led by seniors, by experienced juniors and seniors. Before that could get you, a couple round wins in previous tournaments and some upsets through some of those mid-major schools. But when you see all of college basketball using the transfer portal, you're seeing that some of these better teams, these better schools, are led by senior guards. I mean, look at Michigan State, someone that knocked off, I think it was Mississippi State. They're led by Hogarth and Tyson, who are 2 senior guards. I think that, again, when you look at these landscapes of teams, and that's partly why I really love Marquette so much, because you got a guy in Tyler Kolek who can truly get the ball and score at any point on the court. He can blow past you. He can literally distribute for his teammates. He had a double-double with points and assists. I think that Marquette, with how they've kind of, slid around him as far as shooters-wise, I think Marquette is going to be a dangerous team, and they're the team that I picked in my bracket to win it all. And they look damn good today. But I think that if you look at the tournament now, and we have to look at some teams that I really have to look and say, hey, they got a really good chance. I mean, Arizona looked great. UNC looked phenomenal. Creighton, even though Creighton had their double overtime finish, they showed that they can go out there and win a tough game and basically steal one. I feel like when teams, go through that situation where they were, gasping for that last breath, right? When you go through that situation, that makes you that much more dangerous. And I truly feel like Creighton is a team that, even though a lot of people are sleeping on and they kind of just survived to get in the Sweet 16, I think with Ryan Kalkbrenner, again, senior guards, Baylor Shireman, another great guard, I think that it's just going to be, they're going to be a difficult matchup for anybody. Baylor Shireman kind of reminds me of like a young Ben Simmons. I mean, he's one of the best rebounders in the country, and he can go dribble the ball up and distribute for you. Creighton's dangerous, but again, we didn't even talk about UConn and just how good they look. It's going to be a great tournament. I think we've had some great storylines in the first and second round, but now in this Sweet 16, to get to the Elite Eight, you're going to have to beat somebody. You can't just skate by. And I think that, and you could, Alvin, if you could tell me who NC State is playing in their next matchup. But, I just know from a standpoint of from what I saw, and even and you can't help but look at it from a betting standpoint as well, too. But I think through looking at them, I would be inclined to take the DJ Burns assist total, take the over on that on the next game. Because from what I've seen from people that are trying to defend DJ Burns, it looks like they're coming with that double team. And when you come with that double team, they're looking to swing it out, right? Oof. So Howard says that they're going to have to play Marquette. Man, that's going to be a dangerous game. I know that Marquette does have a big man. I think his last name starts with an O. Someone can fact check me on that. But from what I saw in the tournament, he looks very, sturdy and should be able to kind of bang with DJ Burns. I saw something as well, too, with Marquette. They do a great job of digging in at defenders when they're double teaming, and they really turn defense into offense. And one thing that NC State did show me was that they do turn the ball over. They have the tendency to get sloppy, and if that can, if that can get real, that can get really dangerous for them, man. It can get, Marquette has shown time and time again they can score over 80, 85 points. And, if you're going to have to go and beat Marquette, you're going to have to score points. Justin, he said a great team also, Tennessee Volunteers. That's a team that Doc has winning it all. Tennessee is solid. They had a little bit of a scare against Texas, but I do think that the Volunteers were the best team in the SEC, and they have the depth, all right? A lot of times you're seeing teams play 6 guys. Oregon, that's what really hurt them last night. Was the fact that they just only had 6 guys, and only 2 of them, Dante and their guard from Oregon, those are the only 2 guys that were scoring, right? So I think that when you're talking about depth, and that's what's really stands out for me for Tennessee. And I do like them. However, when we look at those big teams at the top, when you got a Purdue with Zach Edey, when you got a Creighton with Ryan Kalkbrenner, when you have an NC State with a DJ Burns, I'm just interested to see just if Tennessee is a little bit undersized when we get to those later rounds, right? Even UConn. You're going to need somebody that's a 7-footer or better to advance into that Final Four category. And I truly think that it's just how skilled is that big man for you? How athletic is that big man for you? And how well can they match with that guard play, right? And I have to say, we haven't even thrown Duke in there. But again, you got to have Kyle Filipowski in there. Another 7-footer. So again, when we get into these later rounds and we're looking at it from a bettor's perspective and even from a enjoyment standpoint, look at the teams with those big men and just how skilled are they, and are those teams solely relying on that big man? Do they have those 3-point shooters around them so that teams don't have to double team? That's what I think makes Creighton so dangerous, or a team like Marquette so dangerous, because if you try and double teams those guys, or if you try and help on the Tyler Kolek penetration, he is going to find somebody and they're going to splash threes all day. What's that guy, Cam Davis or whatever his name is? He had, I think, over 22, 23 points. It is going to be a dangerous tournament for any team that does not have interior post defense or perimeter defense. So, again, it's wide open. I had Marquette winning it all, but, you wouldn't be wrong to have a Purdue, to have a UConn, to make a case for UNC. How do we forget about Armando Bacot, right? Yo, The amount of talent when you get to this level, this Sweet 16 stage, it is going to be light works, man. It is going to be fireworks. And I can't wait to see what is yet to come. And big time shout out once again to Cloud9 Dispensary on Route 22 in North Plainfield, New Jersey for sponsoring the alternate jerseys in the smoke gray. Oh my gosh. Guys, who you know doing bowling like me? Who you know taking bowling jerseys and making them lifestyle jerseys? I don't know anybody on the lanes getting sponsored not once, but twice by a dispensary. Come on, man. A lot of these guys need bowling. They need to strike. Y'all need to strike. I do not need to strike to have the effect on the game that I've had. You know, I had a joke, big shout out to my boy Dutch, but he saw a story on there where I was doing a little bit of a promo for him. And he was like, yo, this guy was made for marketing. And, you know, maybe I was. I don't know. But, you know, I really do appreciate the opportunities that have been given to me through the Cloud9 Dispensary. And, you know, to be able to be sponsored for them for a second time, for a second run of the jerseys, you know, people look up to the brand, you know. And I think that, again, when you build something from scratch, when you build something from nothing, you know, when you're able to step back and look and be like, damn, this shit is really hot, yo. I'm telling you, it's such a great feeling. And it's something that should never dissuade you away from starting something, right? Because when you look back on it, man, you're going to be so glad that you started, man. They always say the toughest step is the first one. Ronnie says that height difference is going to play a big part when them rebounds are needed. That's right, Ronnie. Big shout out to you, man. But, yo, once again, guys, I appreciate you so much for rocking out with me on a Sunday afternoon. This is episode 146 of the Talk That Talk Show. Yo, with all the things that are ever revolving in my life, you know, trying to juggle 2 or 3 different work schedules, you know, big shout out to my girlfriend. I wouldn't be able to do it without her. She's, you know, like my unofficial planner, telling me when certain things are, you know, saying, no, you can't say yes to this. Yes, you have time for this. You know, she doesn't get paid enough, but, you know, I thank her so much. And, you know, it just really takes into account the necessity of using a calendar, guys. I can't tell you just how much I've been able to fit so much in a day. You know, I truly believe that 24 hours are not enough time in the day, but, you know, I'm able to do a lot, and I'm able to do as much as I want to, let's per se. And I feel as though in stacking those days and, you know, giving yourself a lot of activities, you know, it keeps the mind fresh and it keeps you ready to go, man. And I just thank everybody that continues to support me. Also want to give this is my last reference today. But I want to give a big special shout out to Ernesto. Big shout out to Ernesto Molina, my coworker. Basically in that third game where I couldn't figure it out, you know, we talk about leading by example, right? Ernesto had came to come watch me bowl. He said he always loved supporting me and coming to watch me bowl, and I appreciate him so much for that. And we have a good time, you know. Usually we'll, you know, have an enjoy, sife up a little bit after. But, you know, the thing that I appreciate about Ernesto is when it came down to it, I didn't want to leave out of that bowling alley lost. I didn't want to be like, damn, I didn't fucking know what I was doing out here. Now I got to come out here next week. You know, shit, man. But I took it upon myself to go practice. I said, I need to go practice. Please, I got to go get this practice in real quick. And my boy Ernesto stayed with me after. And I was able to finally figure it out. I think I put like 6 or 7 strikes together. I was like, I'm a fucking idiot because, you know, I figured something out in that practice. And I'm so glad that I did. But it just felt so frustrating because I knew what it was I had to do. But it took me through going to practice to reinforce that. So when I come into the league next week, I know exactly what I'm going to do. But my boy Ernesto stayed after and watched me practice so that I could figure it out. Guys, if you're ever frustrated or if you feel like, you know, things aren't going your way, it's okay to struggle. But remember, it's never okay to give up. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for talking to me and listening to me here on the Talk That Talk show every single week. You know what time it is. We're getting closer and closer to 250. And hopefully got some good things in store for you guys when that 250th episode is upon us. But yo, I got the most loyal fan base in podcasting. I appreciate you guys so much. Big things in store, continuing on for Talk That Talk show, and I'm going to continue to be the best version of myself each and every day. I love you all, and I'll see you all next week.